How do you choose one? I'm going to give you some steps that you can think through, talk about with your friends, with your parents, to choose the school that's right for you. The whole point of going to a bachelor's program, a master's program, a PhD is really to enrich yourself. Yes, you're gaining further education, but there are other elements to your education that you should consider. You are a student, but you're also a human. You want to have a good experience. You want to have fun. You want to learn some things, and you also want to set yourself up for a successful career. So number one is you have to think, what program are you going for? Undergraduate is referred to a bachelor's program. This is what you enter after you're finished high school. Once you've completed your bachelor's degrees, so it could be a bachelor's in arts, a bachelor's in science, then you enter a master's program. And a master's program then is 2 years extra. Master's programs are often tailored to people who want to further their career, gain a competitive advantage. PhD programs, this is even more time and often includes a research component, maybe time spent in a lab, maybe you're defending a thesis. There are different reasons why you would want to pursue a PhD, but that has to be very clear to you of why are you going into this and what are you hoping to do? Do you need a doctorate degree to practice medicine? Do you want to teach at a university? Do you want to do research? So there are different questions that you need to ask yourself. Once you've identified which program you're eligible for and what you're hoping to do, then you got to think about the subject. What have you studied thus far? What do you enjoy? What do you want to do? If you're trying to work in a lab, if you are wanting to practice clinical psychology, to become a lawyer, so you'd go after a JD, what is the subject area and how does that fit along with your program? Once you've identified these two categories, then you can start thinking about where. And where can be overwhelming. So in the United States alone, there's 50 states, there's over 4,000 programs. So the first question that I like to ask students is, do you have friends or family abroad? And this can be helpful, especially when you're going to a new place. If you fall ill, if you need help with something, even if you feel homesick, are there people who you can call, who you could meet, who could help you? Where are your friends? Do you have any relatives in another country? Mark that down. Just the United States, just Australia isn't enough. Then ask them, what city are they in? You're funneling down the options. So instead of looking at the entire country, you're only looking around a specific area. Some people, they really want to live in a big city because it's a new experience. There's so much going on in terms of culture, in terms of things to do. Other people, they're overwhelmed by that and they don't want to have to ride a subway or buses. They want to live in kind of a smaller area. Some people, they're really excited about the prospect of getting their driver's license. Be honest about your lifestyle preference, because this is going to make a big difference in how happy you are, and how happy you are is going to affect your studies. If you're depressed, if you're not feeling comfortable in your environment, you're going to have a tough time focusing in your classes. This is something to really be honest with and to consider. How are you going to pay for your studies? And keep in mind, as an international student, it's not only your tuition fees, but also your housing, your living expenses, your books. Many universities require students to take out insurance. Along with that is scholarships and grants. What is available to you as an international student? And while you're applying to many universities, there's a two-step process. One, you have to apply to the university for admissions. Two, you also have to apply separately for scholarship and grant funds. Together, you will get a package of what is available to you, and then you have to make your decision, what can you afford? In the United States, they cap how many hours as a student you can work, and you can only work on campus. So it's not big money that you're making. If you're really trying to do well in your studies, trying to work and trying to do everything can be overwhelming. So sometimes it isn't necessary to go to the most expensive school or the most famous school, because you're not going to have as good of an experience as if you go to maybe a more affordable college or university where you can enjoy your time there and focus on your studies and concentrate on why you are there. How big is the school? So what kind of classes are you going to be in? Are you going to be in a big lecture hall where there are hundreds of students around you, or is it a small classroom environment? What resources are available to you as an international student? Is there a counseling office where you can get extra help? Are there tuition centers where if you need extra help with writing, with studying, that you can go there for assistance? This is also personal preference. If you can focus in a lecture hall and you kind of like that, being anonymous, and you have many people around you and you feel excited by that energy, that's awesome. Good for you. Then you can think about that. But if you know that if there are many people around you and it's easy for you to sit in the back row and check out and not pay attention, you have to be honest about that too. Understanding how big are the class sizes, what is expected of you in the program, that's going to help you choose which school is right. Where are you going to live? For first year students in bachelor's programs, so freshmen, many universities require you to live on campus. Some universities do not. So for instance, if you have a relative somewhere that you could stay with and you're saving living expenses by living with them instead of on campus, that's going to reduce the overall fees that you're going to have to pay. If you don't know anyone around the program that you're applying to, can the university help you find housing? Many universities have housing departments, and they will help students find roommates. They'll help you find apartments nearby the campus, or if you want to live on campus, they will figure out which dorm room you're going to stay in. Other schools, they don't have those kinds of resources, and maybe the student body they're mostly commuters, so they're working, they're driving to take class in the evening, and then they return home. What kind of experience do you want to have in that regard? Not to be ignored. Fun. You are a human being. You're not only a student. Your nose isn't going to be just in the books the whole time. Who are you and what do you do for fun? Is it some sort of sport? Do you like dancing? Do you like music? Are you an artist? This is one of the best parts about going to university, is the opportunity to explore and try new things, meet other people who share the same interests. What does the school that you're looking at offer to international students? Is there an international student group? If there is, you can ask other students about their experiences. You can look and see, how do they unite people from different places of the world? Is there a Nepali organization on campus? When you're far away from home and everything is new and you're trying to get adapted, having people that share your culture, share your experiences can help you a lot to get settled, to understand a new place, and just to get information. Be honest about what do you like to do for fun, and are those things available at that school that you're looking to choose? Some schools have a lot of resources. They have soccer fields or football fields, they have basketball courts, there are large gymnasiums, there's swimming pools, there's theaters. Others, it's more focused on classes, giving instruction, and the student services is not as broad. After you've looked at all of those things, now you look at application requirements. Many students go to this first. They look and they see, okay, what score do I need in IELTS? Do I need SAT? How much is it to apply? And that's the first thing that they look at. And I've placed it last because I want to put your happiness and your well-being and your studies first. After you've kind of made your list of, maybe at this point you have 7 or 8 schools that you're interested in, now you think about the requirements. And you have to consider, what is your GPA? So GPA is your grades, your marks in school thus far. And look at, what does this school usually accept and how many students do they usually accept? Is their acceptance rate high or low? Then you have to look at, what kind of tests do I need to show that I can speak English? And do they require any other standardized tests? Again, this will go back to the program that you're applying to. SAT, ACT is common for many bachelor's programs. For PhD programs, your essay probably has to do with what you're going to research or what you're hoping to do. First, you're going to have to look for schools in the places that you're interested in. Now everything's online. It's super easy. You don't need someone to help you. You can then go to those universities' websites and see, what are the courses. So if you do enroll in the MBA program, what are the specialties? So sometimes it's focus in marketing or entrepreneurship. What kinds of classes would you be taking? And then oftentimes you can see who are teaching your classes. Find these teachers' CVs and their websites and see, what kind of connections do they have? What do they encourage? Some universities even have ranking and rating systems where you can find out what do current students say about those teachers. And then, of course, asking the financial aid and the admissions department, can international students apply for scholarships? What is available to me? And remember, when you're writing emails, you want to make it very professional. You want to make sure that there's a respectful address. That will help you build a relationship before you even apply. So by the time your application comes to the admissions office, they'll remember, oh, this is Sam from Kathmandu. He had been emailing us for a while. Really excited to read his application. The other tip that I have for you is it's not one and done. You must apply to a few schools at least, at the minimum, because this is what's going to happen. You will either be rejected or accepted. If you're only accepted to one school, you don't really have a choice. So then you can't compare what is the scholarship amount that I've been awarded? What are the services available to international students? What will I be learning in this program? Is there a practical component? So when you apply to several schools, it's an odds game and you're increasing the likelihood that you're going to get more acceptance packages back. Then you can compare and make your decision. Before you make your decision, I would suggest to you that you contact the admissions department and say, hey, are there any current students that I might speak to? If you know somebody there, that's one thing, but if you don't know somebody there, then you're going to have to ask for an introduction. And you can ask them direct, what's your experience been like? What's worked for you here? What do you wish you would have known before you came to this school? If you do feel a little bit insecure about IELTS or TOEFL, so these are English standardized tests, taking a prep class before you go in will save you money in the long run. If the school requires a 6.5 and you score a 6, then you're going to have to take it again. That's time and money wasted. If you're going to an English speaking country, Australia, the United States, Canada, where the primary teaching method is in English and you're not comfortable with that just yet, take a booster class and get in the habit of reading in English, speaking in English, conversing in English, because this is going to boost your confidence for when you show up on campus. Many programs will have an orientation week or at least a few days where before classes start, they call you to the university and you learn where's the library, where are their printers. And this is an opportunity for you to meet other students. If you end up at orientation and you can't have a conversation with them, that's a missed opportunity. And that's a great time to build relationships that can help you throughout your time there. Get comfortable writing emails, talking in English, so that way when you do end up on campus, you're in a good spot. Don't ever be afraid to ask questions, because questions is how you advocate for yourself. And this is also how you get to where you want to go. Without asking questions, you won't know what is the program about, what is expected. So understanding exactly what's expected of you and the requirements will help you succeed. And that's the most important part. If you go to Canada because everyone around you is saying, oh, go abroad, it's going to be awesome, this is the right thing to do, and you get there and you're miserable, you're having a rough time and you're out in like a wintry wonderland, there's snow everywhere and you can't drive and you're kind of stuck in this dorm room, and you don't feel great, how are you going to be able to participate in classes, really? There's no point in suffering through a bachelor's program or a master's program. When you enter a bachelor's program, many universities in the United States want to make sure that you have basic understanding of sciences, math, critical thinking, and reasoning skills. It is very English intensive. When I took it, there were so many vocabulary words that even I didn't know. And I grew up speaking English. The number one thing when you're preparing for the SAT is vocabulary. ACT is similar. The main difference is ACT has a science component. A native English speaker usually takes 2 to 3 months to study for the SAT. So you have to plan a specific length of time if you want to do your best. Now, some schools, and again, this is why I said figure out the schools first, figure out their requirements, and then choose, because some schools, they don't actually care what your SAT score is. They just want to make sure that you took it. Other schools are very competitive and they only want students that score 1,300 or above. So then you have to think, How much time do I actually really need to prepare for this if I'm trying to get a 1300, a 1400? So scholarships really vary depending on the university. Some schools are able to give out a lot of scholarship money. Others are not. Scholarships are usually in two buckets based on merit. So this means you're an incredible student and you scored very well on SAT, ACT. And then there's also need-based. Need-based is usually for exceptional circumstances and people who are very talented. So especially in the United States, they look at applicants as a whole. So it's not just your scores on a sheet, but they're also looking to see, have you done volunteer work? What about research? Are you published? And they look at your application as a whole, and based off of that, provide you with a merit or a need-based scholarship. Scholarships can range. So some students do get full rides. That means the entire studies are paid for. Others, it's half. And this is why I encourage you to apply for several schools, because one school may not give you any scholarship money. Another school could give you half tuition. These are things that you really have to think about and be honest about and do your research. The Common App is this. It's a standard application that you fill out, and you use this Common App to apply to several different universities. So again, some universities do accept the Common Application. Others have their own set of questions and their own requirements. The only way you know which school is accepting Common App or not is when you're looking at their admissions requirements. It does save you a lot of time because everything's in one place. So it's easy for you to email and send it and apply to different universities.